The Democratic Party in Wisconsin has decided that they will move forward with their primary election on Tuesday, April 7th, putting both voters and poll workers in danger during the middle of this pandemic. Now, as Wisconsin moves ahead with its scheduled elections on Tuesday, according to the New York Times, which include both presidential primaries, a statewide Supreme Court race, and local races, more than 1,850 municipal clerks and thousands more poll workers will be thrust into frontline positions as the nation's struggle with the coronavirus. Now, keep in mind that a number of poll workers have decided to say that they're not going to show up, and for good reason. They don't want to put themselves in danger. They don't want to contract a virus and then spread it to their loved ones. One poll worker named Angie Copas told the New York Times, quote, "I'm scared. On election day, we're exposed to them and everyone they came across. I'm the only person in the office and I run it all." And so one of the other issues is, since so many poll workers have decided that they're not going to show up, the state has decided, well, we're not going to have as many polling locations available. So they're going to cram most voters in small spaces by closing down a bunch of the other polling locations. A much better solution to this would be to postpone the primary, as other states have done, but Wisconsin is refusing to do that.
I think there's a chance that there's going to be criminal responsibility at the end of this. I can't understand how these governors at this late date still don't understand what's going on. I haven't looked at polls in 3 weeks. So I imagine that Biden is leading, probably by a lot. And that's probably why they want to rush this election. I'll say something else. I guarantee you that if Bernie was leading, there's no way they hold this election. No way, no how. Everyone on planet Earth knows it. And if the governor of Wisconsin or Tom Perez says anything otherwise, they are unmitigated liars. Everybody knows that. Okay. So now let's talk about how dire this situation is. They think it's all like a Biden versus Bernie, Biden. No, guys. They don't have masks yet. A huge percentage of the poll workers are over 60 years old. They're like, we're hoping that the masks will arrive right before the elections. You're hoping? You're going to send in people into an enclosed space that are over 60 years old. I was reading the details of some of the poll workers. They've got lung problems. They've got this disease. They've got that disease. We got 1,850 municipal workers, clerks, and then clerks, and then thousands of poll workers on top of that. Huge percentage over 60 and potentially. You're going to, without gloves and masks, they're going to go into an enclosed space and sit there for hours as hundreds of people go through them. No, are you insane? If you're a poll worker in Wisconsin, I love you. And elections are so important. And we tell people to vote and go out and vote more than almost any show you could possibly imagine. But if you're a poll worker, don't go. Forget Bernie, forget Biden. It isn't about that. They're endangering your life. It's airborne. It's airborne.
Yes.
It
let me
stays
give
in the
you
air for 2 to 3 hours. If you go in there, it's going to be a vat. Don't go in. I'm serious. And if you're a voter, do mail-in. I mean, these criminals are making you vote by Tuesday. You got to do mail-in. You can't go in person. Milwaukee had 180 polls that are normally open. They're down to 12? Okay, so that's down to 12 or fewer on election day. You're going to cram 180 amount of people that would have gone to 180 different polling stations into 12, and you're going to make those poll workers sit there. Even if they had masks, they shouldn't go. It's way too dangerous. Without masks, hell no.
As of Tuesday, 7,000 poll workers said that they would not show up. And I don't blame them at all. And 111 precincts did not have a single poll worker on schedule, meaning many locations would be forced to close. At that point, Governor Tony Evers, a Democrat, said, "Oh, it's not a problem. We'll just get the National Guard to step in." But then you're risking the lives of members of the national, lives are lives. Like, what kind of stupid argument is that? And what's also stupid and incredibly disgusting and selfish is the response from Joe Biden, because Joe Biden was asked about it during one of his disastrous virtual town halls. And I say disastrous, not just due to the content of what he's saying here, but because his team can't get anything right. They apparently, they just discovered what the internet is. Just take a look at this disastrous video. Yes, I know it's out of sync. It's not our doing, it's their doing. But listen to the message that Biden is sending here as people are dying from this pandemic.
A convention having tens of thousands of people in one arena is very different than having people walk into a polling booth with accurate spacing to 6 to 10 feet apart, one at a time, going in and have machines scrubbed down. But I do think there are going to be a lot more. I think you could hold the election as well, dealing with mail-in ballots and same-day registration. I mean, there's a lot of things that can be done. That's for the Wisconsin courts and folks to decide.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And unsurprisingly, Bernie's response was very different because Bernie understands the importance of keeping people safe. I mean, it's incredible, right? Because on one hand, the Democratic establishment, rightfully so, is very critical of Donald Trump and how he refused to pass those federal guidelines encouraging social distancing, right? But then on the other hand, how do they have any leg to stand on? How could they ever criticize Donald Trump when they themselves are thinking about their own political agenda here? And they're putting people of Wisconsin in danger as we speak by encouraging them to go vote. And they're encouraging poll workers to show up to the polls. It's insane.
So look, as usual, it creates an uneven playing field. Because Biden is telling his older voters who will believe anything, yeah, you're going to be safe. Don't sweat it, man. My career is more important than your life. Go vote for me, right? But we as progressives, we're going to tell you the right thing to do because we actually care about you. I would love for Bernie to win. If Bernie wins in Wisconsin, it'd be a huge shock. It would say that he's back in the ball game. It could be a game changer, et cetera. But I'm going to tell you now, unless you got a mail-in ballot, do not go to those polling stations because I care about your life more than I care about anybody winning. So I'm not going to send you into a room where hundreds of people have been, maybe thousands of people. They expect 500,000 people to vote in person on Tuesday. Okay, you're going to walk into those rooms. If you brought a mask, they didn't all bring masks. And if you don't have a mask, don't go anywhere near it. And you got to have gloves because they're touching all the surfaces. Oh, Biden says, oh, don't worry, they'll clean the surface every time. Will they? A lot of people will forget. And not only that, a lot of them will botch it. By the way, it's not just Democrats. Republicans are also guilty. The Republican legislature of Wisconsin is demanding that they vote immediately. Maybe their motive is, hey, as many Democratic voters as we can kill will be better off in the general election. I don't know what the Democratic governor's motive is. I don't know what Tom Perez. I do know what their motive is. Win for the establishment at all costs. It is grotesque. 3 poll workers in Florida already got coronavirus from a polling station. And that was when the disease was not as heated as it is today. So that's at least the ones we know of. This is a nightmare waiting to happen.
They just don't value people's lives. They just don't. All of this is politically motivated on both sides. And it's just it's right in front of our faces. And anyone who dares to criticize this decision, right, will get blasted on Twitter. Soledad O'Brien will cry about it. But okay, Soledad O'Brien, why don't you show up to Wisconsin and work at the polls? Okay, get off Twitter for a second and do something of use with your time. Trash.
Their precious lives. Tony Evers, I want you to, if there's a single poll worker without a mask, I want Tony Evers showing up at those goddamn polls without a mask and without gloves and standing a post. I want Tom Perez standing a post. If you're not going to do it, and you're not going to do it the same way that the poll workers are, then you should cancel the election. Otherwise, later, if anyone dies because of it, you should be brought up on criminal charges.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.